Earth Day approaches once again, this Friday, in fact. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. In this video, we're going to look back at the history of Earth Day, the very real pollution problems American and other civilizations had then, what recommendations sound and unsound Earth Day advocates are making today, and what does the environmental movement really want. First, I want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down to the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, including this t-shirt. Notice what it says, Rhino Hunting. Appropriate for this season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. United States history, late 20th century, will now begin. The first Earth Day took place on April 22nd, 1970. Most people alive today cannot appreciate the real pollution concerns that existed then. Factories belched smoke, and their owners spared barely a thought for that smoke, as unpleasant as best, poisonous at worst. Other factories dumped toxic sludge into rivers. Some of us remember the public service announcement campaigns of the period. How many of you remember the Native American paddling down a polluted river, then walking beside a highway? An uncaring car passenger throws litter literally at his feet, and he looks up, shedding a tear. Or how about the boy hiking beside a river and past industries dumping sludge and noxious brews into it? To this day, Earth Day has its own advocacy group which keeps the official history of the event. That history mentions certain things ordinary people did without the slightest thought, like using gasoline containing tetraethyl lead and driving cars that consume a prodigious amount of fuel per mile. But one name you will not hear from them is that of Ira Einhorn, the unicorn killer. That's because he likely conned others into believing he was the founder of the movement. He even stood on a stage proclaiming himself to be the founder, spoke for 1 hour, and someone took his picture. But before that decade was out, he killed someone. A jury would, decades later, find him guilty of killing his girlfriend and trying to turn her into compost. Apparently, a landlord broke into his apartment to clear the bad smell and found the body. Ira Einhorn went to prison for that act in 2002 and died shortly before Earth Day 2019, which goes to show that murder will out. A made-for-TV movie chronicled Ira Einhorn, his unicorn moniker, and how he misrepresented himself as the chief organizer of the first Earth Day. At least witnesses sympathetic to Earth Day said that and still say it, and I have no good reason to believe they're lying. But Ira Einhorn's case illustrates one other thing, how easy it is to con the legacy media with a message they want to hear. Time magazine admits that Ira Einhorn fooled them and many others into believing that he planned the Philadelphia Earth Day event. One witness wrote to Time, and I quote, "He was not even a member of the committee of 33 men and women who did organize the event. The photo you ran was taken during a 1-hour period when Einhorn literally occupied the podium, refusing to get off the stage and delaying Senator Edmund Muskie's keynote speech. It was an unsuccessful attempt, at least at that time, to seize 15 minutes of fame. Now a notorious murder, flight, trial in absentia, and foreign capture are giving Einhorn the national media attention he so desperately craved." Unquote. The Ira Einhorn case also gave Earth Day bad publicity, which it probably didn't deserve. On this account, the real significance of Earth Day is as a reflection of the environmental movement as a whole. The Columbus Dispatch describes activities people are arranging in Columbus, Ohio, for Earth Day 2022. They include cleaning up piles of trash and planting seeds. Hey, reforestation is a legitimate activity and can do some good by improving the planet's capacity to make oxygen. One thing we hear about from the Earth Day organizers is regenerative agriculture. They want to avoid the use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and whatnot. Much of these are the very things the Russians now refuse to sell to the rest of the world. Joseph R. Mercola, D.O., is already urging farmers to go regenerative if they expect to make a crop this year. But then they talk about telling people to turn vegetarian, and even Mercola doubts the wisdom of that. The only concentrated sources of protein are meat and fish. Vegetarians, and especially vegans, the strictest of the lot, are vulnerable to physical weakness and certain anemias. Worse than that is the deliberate energy squeeze. Earth Day is turned into an excuse to depopulate the planet and to deindustrialize and even decivilize. Michael Moore, in his film Planet of the Humans that came out in 2020, correctly points out what's wrong with many environmental solutions. But then he basically tells people to kill themselves to save the planet. New York City will ban cars from over 100 streets on Earth Day. Elon Musk last month urged Europe to expand nuclear power, but the common Earth Day message is, no nukes. The original organizers of Earth Day expressed many legitimate concerns that day, and our civilization has dealt with them. Naturally, such organizers don't want to quit, so they invent other concerns. Today, these organizers recommend many sound things, but recommend other unsound things. In deciding when one must move on from any activist, ask yourself, what are his true goals? The Earth Day keepers have created this problem for themselves, worshiping the creation instead of the creator, and also seeing their fellow human beings as a blight on the planet. Bear this in mind as you examine, critically, what they recommend. Links to the description of the article, to my review of Planet of the Humans, and to Conservative News and Views. I have another link to the awesome online store, as I mentioned. And if you like what you've heard, you can like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.